skipping so much information from the light novel or the manga of Classroom of the Elite.
Light novel purists will never be satisfied, and we know it. The content is fucking egregious, so I'm just worried like how they're going to be adapting this.
There's so much content from this show, and they just can't fit it in an anime, and then everything gets really confusing. It's really confusing to watch.
The worst take I have seen so far. This one really annoys me. There's one criticism from light novel readers that I think is completely valid, and that's... First, let's start with the worst take I have seen so far. The art style looks bad than previous seasons. I mean, have we watched the same series again? Because no matter how I look at it, Season 4 designs look the best compared to the previous 3 seasons. It has cleaner line work, sharper lighting, and more light novel accurate proportions. But the moment the trailer dropped, everyone became an art professor and started criticizing the designs. Let me say this very clearly. Season 4 has the best overall character design the anime has ever had. The new character designer Maki Kono has literally worked on projects like Bleach 1000 Year Blood War, Gintama Movie 2, Attack on Titan, Death Note, Haikyuu, Kuroko no Basket and whatnot, and she has done an incredible job for the Season 4 designs too. Yes, I agree that it's not perfect, but it's the most balanced compared to the previous 3 seasons. Now, let's talk about the Ayanokoji looking childish complaint, because this one completely misses the point. From season 1 to 3, Ayanokoji's anime design made him look more rugged, bulkier, and honestly sometimes a little goofy. That version never really matched how other characters described him in the light novels. In the light novels, Ayanokoji is reportedly described as handsome, athletic, and well-built, not intimidating, not edgy, just naturally attractive. And that's exactly what the new design finally captures. Yes, he looks younger, and that's a good thing, because Ayanokoji is supposed to look harmless, almost normal, while hiding something far darker underneath. That contrast is the entire point of his character. A face that looks calm, clean, even approachable, paired with a mind that's borderline demonic. The older designs lean too hard into making him look tough on the outside. This new design understands that the danger isn't in his appearance, it's in his thoughts. And also, a quick fact for the anime onlys, Ayanokoji was ranked 5th in the attractiveness among his entire grade during his first year by the girls. So that alone should tell you that he was never meant to look rough or intimidating from the outside. He was meant to look like someone you'd underestimate. And that's why this new design works. But I will agree with one criticism, and that is Ichika Amasawa's face. Yeah, that one needs a little work. Not terrible, but let's be honest, sometimes she looks perfect, sometimes she looks off. But the good news is that the anime drops in spring 2026, and that's plenty of time to fix the facial consistency. But people see change and instantly panic. Why does it look so different? It looks different because anime is allowed to improve and change. Now, this one really annoys me. Studio Lerche is back, so rip COTE. Relax, let me educate you for a second. Studio Lerche is not the main problem here, because the production committee decides the things that actually matter. Budget, schedule, episode count, and deadlines. Lerche doesn't wake up one morning and say, let's read in Classroom of the Elite. And despite everything people say, let's look at reality. Season 2 and Season 3 had decent IMDb ratings. The anime did well enough to get 4 seasons, merchandise sales, and light novel sales spike every time a new season airs. So if Lerche was truly doing an awful job, this series would have died after Season 1. Now that being said, there's one criticism from light novel readers that I think is completely valid, and that's the return of the scriptwriters. Because the anime sometimes tries way too hard to turn Ayanokoji into this emotionless Sigma male robot. However, in the light novels, Koji is far more human and reserved, but still capable of doubt, curiosity, and emotional growth. And this is where we need a reality check. Classroom of the Elite is probably one of the hardest light novels to adapt into anime. Not just for Studio Lerche, but for literally any animation studio. Light novels already struggle when adapted to anime because of pacing. But even among light novels, COTE is on a completely different level. Series like 86 move at a much faster narrative pace, which naturally makes them easier to translate into anime forms. But Classroom of the Elite does not work like that. Its story depends on psychological build-up, layered strategy, and how characters think and react in the moment, things that simply cannot be rushed. The novel spends pages unpacking motivations and subtle power shifts, which is why a lot of fans feel the anime's pacing sometimes comes off as rushed, confusing, or hard to digest.
Classroom of the Elite.
Oh god.
Ooh, I would say C.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say C.
It had a really strong start and then it just fell apart.
It's not that it fell apart. There's so much content from this show, and they just can't fit it in an anime, and then everything gets really confusing. It's really confusing to watch.
The anime is skipping so much information from the light novel or the manga of Classroom of the Elite. I never really noticed it before, but I really noticed it this episode. It felt like a lot of stuff was not being was taken out. It feels like there's missing information here and there.
And Classroom of the Elite and ReZero coming back, like, fuck, man, this is gonna be fucking amazing. I think that a lot of people are gonna be disappointed again about the art style no matter what. And will they actually have good pacing? I think that the anime is a success in terms of in making the anime only as entertaining, but the light novel purist will never be satisfied. And we know it. The content is fucking egregious. So I'm just worried like how they're going to be adapting this. It's the same studio, but just a different director. So
Now, notice something important here. Animation quality and character designs have never been the main complaint from light novel readers or anime onlys. The criticism has almost always been about pacing, about how certain arcs feel rushed or incomplete once they are translated to screen. That's because the novels build suspense through detailed setups that just don't fit neatly into a standard 12-episode season. That's why you constantly see comments like they would need 24 to 26 episodes just to scratch the surface, and honestly, that's not even an exaggeration. Some arcs in year 1 and year 2 are massive, packed with strategic reveals that are extremely difficult to do justice to under a seasonal anime model. So what happens? The anime is forced to speed things up, and once you speed things up, content gets cut. Not because the studio wants to, but because the format demands it. That's why, in my opinion, the production committee likely treats the anime primarily as an advertisement for the light novels. And whether people like that or not, it worked. The light novel sales speaks for themselves. And I can say this from personal experience too, because I have tried adapting the light novels into anime style episodes myself. Condensing dozens of dense pages into a clean, understandable 24-minute episode is not easy at all. Now that being said, it doesn't completely let Lerche and Kadokawa off the hook, but it does explain why Classroom of the Elite adaptations almost always feel chopped and compressed compared to the light novels. Now, the last criticism is about the director handling two series at the same time. Yes, the director is working on two series at the same time, and his earlier works are not that notable and famous. I agree that. So, is that risky? Absolutely. Could quality suffer? Possibly. But here's the thing, he is worth taking a bet. Because I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than being pessimistic and right. Because being pessimistic about everything is just too exhausting, and honestly, it feels terrible. So, let the man cook and judge the anime after it is released. So let's summarize the video. The art style, best it's ever been. Ayanokoji's design, light novel accurate. Lerche could produce result with good schedule and budget. Director concerns, fair, but not a world-ending concern. You don't have to love the trailer, but hating it for reasons that fall apart after 10 seconds of thinking, that's dumb. Classroom of the Elite has survived. Worse art, worse pacing, and worse adaptation choices. And it's still standing and trending. And always remember that you must always hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And also, don't hate something for dumb reasons. So, if you enjoyed this rant, drop a like. If you disagree, comment. I will read it with popcorn. And if season 4 cooks, I'll be right here reminding you all of this.